You're tuned into Pleasure Principles with your host, Sayan. This is the space where desire meets discovery, where we stop whispering about pleasure and start treating it as a core KPI for a good life. Today, we're zooming way out to what I like to call the fifth stage of life, the years ranging between 80 to 100 plus. And we are asking today a very bold question. What if your sensuality is not supposed to fade away with the age, but evolve and deepen? With me today is someone who is literally the walking proof of that. Michael J. Dorfman, at 83, is not just talking longevity, he's living it. He's a health and nutrition life coach, investigative author, and longevity advocate who has spent almost 50 years experimenting with food, mindset, and lifestyle design. He has gone from vegetarian in the 70s to whole food based plant in 2008. He holds a plant based nutrition certification from Cornell, and he wrote The Thriving Vegan. And now he's working on the Longevity Wellness Revolution, which is basically a playbook for aging with energy, purpose, and joy. So, if you have ever thought, after a certain age, intimacy, or particularly your intimacy is over, or you feel like your body is too old for that now, this conversation is just going to push you back a little, gently but firmly for sure, because we are here to optimize not just your lab results, but also your love making. So let's get into it. So welcome to the show, Michael. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here with me today.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here. Was looking forward to this.
Amazing, Michael. Likewise. And so, with all that on our table right now, Michael, you talk about thriving after 80, 80s, I should say, and that includes sensuality. So, for most people, that idea feels foreign or even funny. So let me ask you this: when most people hear that in our 80s or 90s, they kind of feel awkward. In your experience, what does this kind of longevity actually look and feel like in that particular stage of life?
Well, living past 80 has been an incredible experience. I'm in the journey, and it really required a mindset change for me because most people think that life is sort of ending when you're in your 70s and you enjoy your life. And then, but when you get into your 80s, it seems that most people are thinking about surviving and not thriving.
Mm,
And the mindset
mm,
that I have and is that it's not true. You can enjoy the 80s. I don't know what the 90s are going to be, but you can enjoy the 80s as much as you enjoyed and thrive during your 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And that's incredible to really understand that, life doesn't end, even though, we're being told that, well, because most people here in the West anyway, they have
mm.
chronic diseases and they're sort of just trying to, survive and just live their last, years as best as they can. But I'm saying you can really thrive and feel joy and feel just fulfillment during 80s.
Yeah, I love that you're normalizing this because I think a lot of people listening right now are probably thinking I would love that, but I kind of feel invisible or too old to be desired, and that feeling doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's years of conditioning and the quiet shame sitting in the background. So let's go one layer deeper into that emotional and cultural baggage. So we talk a lot on this show about the scripts that we inherit. Many people hit 60 or 70 and the internal script is, I'm old. My body is declining. This desire is sort of childish. From your work and your life, what are the key mindset shifts that allow someone in that fifth stage of life to feel sensual, confident, and connected with everyone around you again?
Well, one thing is, yeah, my wife and I, we've been married for, we just had our 54th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
last month. Well, no,
Congratulations on
actually,
that.
October 29th. So we've been together since 1970. And it's really incredible because uh, the love is there. What you go through when you're with somebody, for example, you go through
Mm,
different stages. You're maybe physically you change, and but there's when you go through a relationship, we have found both of us, but coming from me, that you get deeper and deeper into the other person and understanding the other
mm,
person and the acceptance of the other person, and love just keeps it's there and it keeps growing, and that's what I've had the opportunity to experience with my wife, and also I think it's very important to start well, for me it's I I'm I'm getting to feel people more. I'm getting to sort of have relationships in the sense of on a more human level, and I think that's one of the
right.
things that we're forgetting now because, what's happening in the world today is that everybody's on their phones and their relationship is just on phones, on
Yeah.
WhatsApp or whatever. And we're
Yeah.
forgetting that, you know, it's not the same as being with people as being talking, speaking to somebody on the phone and thinking that that's a relationship. And that's what we're being, that's,
Yeah.
that's what's happening. And, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because it's not the same thing when you are in a person in personal relationship and you're with a person in person. There's an exchange. There's electricity. There's emotion that you feel from the other person. And when you're on the phone and when you're just on any kind of a screen, uh, you're just being fooled into that. So we
Mm.
have to understand that it's very important to be with people.
Totally. And Michael, I mean, you have seen this whole, sort of technology coming into play since the last few decades, and I totally agree with what you said, right? And yeah, I think intimacy finds its own, deeper form when you're with someone in a room for a much longer duration. And um, now that we have talked about, the mindset, I want to bring this into the body. I want to talk a little bit about you, as in your food habits, since you have been plant-based for years and, you geek out on blue zones, and breath work, hot and cold therapy. So, how do these habits actually show up in your essential life? Things like maybe stamina, sensitivity, confidence. What's the difference?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything you said. When in my 80s, my my goal is to continue thriving because especially now that I'm finishing my latest book and I'm on podcasts. I want to maintain this feeling and this enjoyment of actually living a fulfilling life. So for me, the lifestyle changes. Well, I started off. I've been plant based for 17 years now. I started out as a vegetarian in 1976, and then now I'm adding on more things because I really enjoy challenges, and I think what's
Mm,
very important as we get older is that most people think here in the West, for example, you retire. It's the American dream. You retire at in your 60s or 70s, and then you just relax and don't do too much, But for me, it's exactly the opposite because I think that as you get older, the body is slowing down because it's slowing down, and I think
yeah.
that one of the ways that you can actually keep it going and really enjoy energy at a level I
Totally,
play.
totally.
Totally, and you can really enjoy this. And so I use these different lifestyles as challenges to keep my immune system strong, keep my energy level very high, and to experience what it is to be alive. And so I do the breath holds, I do the temperature changes, I do breath. Well, I do the breath holds. I do what else do I do? I do hanging. I do everything to make sure my posture remains well, because when you get older, there's a tendency of your back, you have problems. So I do that as well. And so these are some of the things that I meditate, make sure I have my connection within me, because that is the most important thing for me. In order
Yeah.
to not, especially the way of the what's happening in the world, and people going through stress, different types of things, just maintaining this connection within, and it reminds me constantly that everything outside of me is not me. It's like I'm living as a human being, and I'm experiencing things in this life. But it's very important to have a very good connection, internal connection, so that you don't get confused with all the craziness or all the things that are happening around us.
Yeah, I had this interesting perspective. So you talked about the, this American retirement dream, and I think that's like a common thing for, I think, people from all around the world. They want to, sit back, relax, make time for themselves, which is I mean, I'm not saying that's not needed, but in some sense, if you look around, so this is my perspective, right? If you look around, everything. I mean, yeah, now there are like living components, non-living components, right? But if you look around, there are mostly non-living components around you, right? The universe is dead, right? You are a living entity in the universe. So you have to keep up, with that energy to keep you alive. Does that make sense? So that's just my perspective, and I think it totally resonates with what you said. And it's such a power list that you shared, Michael. And I want to now pivot to something a little more taboo, because this is where things get real for a lot of couples. So let's talk about real couple dynamics for a minute, where I think many long-term partners hit later life and experience desired gaps. Like one partner may want more touch, more intimacy, maybe even explore new sensual experiences. But there's this gap with the other partner. So, from what you have seen, what are some healthy and respectful ways older couples can renegotiate intimacy, desire, and consent during this particular stage of their life?
Well, that's a great question. So because one of the things that when you're married 55 years, the
Yeah.
initial century, it's not the same anymore. So
Mm.
but intimacy is always there. The intimacy of being with the other person on an intimate level, and just helping each other enjoy whatever it is we want to do, whether it's actual relationship, or actual with a physical intimacy, or it's just hugging, or it's just playing away with each other. It's sort of getting to accept each other as we're not exactly the same, and that sometimes there may be more of desires from one person than the other person, but it's a respect, and it's also I want to please the other person, and the other person wants to please me. So we work with
Yeah.
that, and we're able to reach a real nice level between us, where we can enjoy each other and respect each other. And but yes, it changes as you get older, but
Definitely.
it the feeling is still there. Maybe it's just hugging, maybe it's just actual intimacy, but
Yeah.
it's really working together. And as long as
Yeah.
the love is there, you find a way.
Yeah, that sounds like a compassionate framework. And I really appreciate, by the way, you centering consent and, emotional well-being of the other person. Because I think sensual longevity is not just still having sex at 90. It's about feeling emotionally seen. I think feeling chosen, connected, and alive in your own skin. So to close this question segment, Michael, I want to zoom out and challenge uh, the concept of ageism into how particularly society talks about pleasure and bodies. And I think this is the perfect note to wrap this upon. So if I zoom out to the cultural layer, Michael, most ads for skincare, you call it skincare, you call it lingerie, even dating apps still push the narrative that youth equals sexy, right? I mean, everything after 40 is like anti-aging mode. What do you think we lose as a culture when we erase the sensual and erotic lives of people living in their 70s, 80s, and 90s?
Well, I think what's very important is health. My focus is on in is on health. It's on emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual health.
Mm.
And to me, it's that's where my energy goes. And I think that we have to. Uh, this is the change in the mindset is actually becoming another person, and that's what.
Mm.
In other words, changing your identity. So I don't know what anybody else is going to experience when they're in their 80s, but when you change your identity, it's just that you just look at life differently. I look at life differently than I did in my 60s and my 70s. And I don't know, each person may be different and how this change would be for them. But the whole idea of changing your identity and understanding that in order to do that, you need to be healthy and and not accept that chronic disease is a natural part of
Mm.
aging. It's not. And by doing this, by being healthy, then you can see, well, where you're at. Like for me, creativity is a very important thing. So I do my creativity, in my writing, in my research, in just never stopping to learn. I continuously want to learn new things and just keep that mind going, challenging the
Yeah.
mind, and this is what I do, and this is what's allows me to really feel life. And because one of the advantages you get when you have when you get older is that you may not have a job anymore, you may not have that many responsibilities. My sons are in their
Right.
50s already, so you can really enjoy these later years like you've never enjoyed other years because you're free, and you have that opportunity to feel free and just to explore and just to keep growing.
Totally. Totally. Yes. I feel like a lot of listeners just exhaled during, after you said that, because even if they're not 80 yet, they're already carrying that quiet fear of becoming invisible. And you're showing them with your life, not just your words, that that stage, that fifth stage that we're talking about, can be a season of, I think, self connection, deep connection, curiosity, and keeping that mind going. I think that's the most important aspect of this whole conversation. And my biggest takeaway from this whole conversation, Michael, has been that. Uh, sensuality, I think it doesn't fade, it evolves. And if we allow it, right, aging can happen at a deeper, richer, and more grounded kind of level than anything that we have experienced in our youth. So I think that's the perfect note to wrap things upon. And before we just wrap off, Michael, I would love to know, for anyone who's listening to you and would love to get in touch with you and purchase your book, where can they find you?
Okay, well, I have my website, which is uh, the longevitywellnessrevolution.com, and I put my articles out there. I also have a Substack account, and I put out articles once a week on health, on yeah, different aspects of health. And my book is, I'm expecting my book to be launched in January next month. And that people will be able to buy it on Amazon, but you can buy it, get the information on my website. So that's the way to stay in touch with me. And I'm on YouTube. I do lots of podcasts. I'm enjoying it very much as part of my enjoyment the later years. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect. The listeners, I'll include the details in the show notes for you so you can check them out anytime at your own convenience. And with that, Michael, we hit today's clock on this episode. And honestly, this has been such an energizing and grounding conversation. You reminded me, you reminded us that this longevity is not a fantasy. I think it's sort of something that most of us in a society doesn't talk about. But I think it's a strategy. It is like the food that you feed to your own mind. That mindset. I think to keep saying that, I'm still here and still worthy of, that desire, joy. And so if this episode resonated with any one of you listening to this, I want you to share it with someone who needs to know their story does not end midlife. Hit follow, leave a review, and keep writing with us here on Pleasure Principles, where we keep proving that a well lived life and a well loved body go hand in hand.
That's right.